The Nobel Peace Prize isn't just a medal, it's a tribute to courage, determination, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Today, we'll uncover the stories of 7 remarkable individuals who won the Nobel Peace Prize in the most extraordinary ways. From standing up against dictatorships to transforming lives in the most impoverished communities, these winners show us that true peace is about taking bold actions. Number 1. Malala Yousafzai, the youngest beacon of hope, 2014. Malala Yousafzai's name is synonymous with bravery and the fight for education. Born in Pakistan's Swat Valley, Malala grew up in a region where the Taliban sought to enforce strict Sharia law, denying girls the right to education. At just 11 years old, Malala started writing a blog for the BBC under a pseudonym, describing life under the Taliban and her dreams for education. Her words reached millions, but also attracted deadly attention. In 2012, a Taliban gunman boarded her school bus and shot her in the head, an attack that could have silenced her forever. However, Malala survived and emerged stronger. After her recovery, she continued her advocacy on an even larger scale, addressing the United Nations at the age of 16 and co-authoring the memoir, I Am Malala. The Taliban's bullet intended to stop her instead amplified her voice across the world. By 2014, she was jointly awarded the Nobel Peace Prize with Indian child rights activist Kailash Satyarthi. Through the Malala Fund, she's now working to ensure 12 years of free, safe, and quality education for every girl worldwide. Her influence extends to conflict zones like Syria, Nigeria, and Afghanistan, where girls are still fighting for their right to learn. Malala's story isn't just about defiance. It's about inspiring a new generation to believe that they too can make a difference. Number 2. Nelson Mandela and F.W. de Klerk, bridging divides in South Africa. Nelson Mandela and F.W. de Klerk's Nobel Peace Prize was a historic moment for South Africa and the world. Mandela, an anti-apartheid revolutionary, had spent 27 years in prison, much of it in solitary confinement. Upon his release in 1990, Mandela chose the path of negotiation rather than revenge, understanding that South Africa's future lay in reconciliation, not retribution. Meanwhile, de Klerk, who was president of South Africa at the time, made the courageous decision to dismantle the apartheid regime from within. Their negotiations led to the end of apartheid, a system of institutionalized racial segregation, and paved the way for South Africa's first multiracial elections in 1994, where Mandela was elected president. Despite their differences, Mandela and de Klerk worked together to draft a new constitution that recognized the rights of all citizens, regardless of race. Their Nobel Prize win was not just a personal accolade. It was a symbol of hope for a nation divided by centuries of racial injustice. It taught the world that peace often requires difficult choices, forgiveness, and the courage to work with former adversaries to build a shared future. Number 3. Wangari Maathai, the Green Revolutionary. Wangari Maathai was a trailblazer in every sense of the word. She was the first woman in East and Central Africa to earn a doctorate, but her real legacy began with the simple act of planting trees. In 1977, she founded the Greenbelt movement, which began as a grassroots effort to combat deforestation and promote sustainable land use in Kenya. Her initiative empowered rural women by providing them with small payments to plant trees, simultaneously addressing environmental degradation, poverty, and women's rights. Over the years, the Greenbelt movement grew into an environmental powerhouse, planting more than 51 million trees across Africa. But Maathai's work wasn't just about trees, it was about challenging the status quo. She was jailed, beaten, and vilified by the Kenyan government, which viewed her activism as a threat to its power. Yet she persisted, speaking out against land grabbing and advocating for democratic reforms. Her Nobel Prize win in 2004 made her the first African woman to receive the award, and it signified a global acknowledgement that the fight for environmental sustainability is intrinsically linked to peace and justice. Maathai's story is a testament to the power of community action and a reminder that peace extends to how we treat our planet. Number 4. Muhammad Yunus and Grameen Bank, banking on the poor. Muhammad Yunus turned traditional banking on its head with a simple yet groundbreaking idea: lend money to those who have nothing and trust them to repay it. Yunus, an economics professor in Bangladesh, saw how poverty entrenched itself in communities that lacked access to credit. In 1976, he started offering tiny loans, sometimes as little as $27, to poor women in the village of Jobra, enabling them to start small businesses like weaving baskets or raising chickens. This idea grew into the Grameen Bank, which operates on the belief that credit is a fundamental human right. By 2006, the bank had lent over $5.7 billion to more than 6.6 million borrowers, with a repayment rate of over 97%. The Grameen model showed that the poor are not only capable of lifting themselves out of poverty when given the chance, but are also reliable and trustworthy borrowers. Yunus's Nobel Peace Prize win in 2006 recognized his innovative approach to fighting poverty, which has since been replicated worldwide, reaching millions in over 100 countries. His work demonstrates that financial inclusion is essential for peace and stability, as it creates economic opportunities and empowers individuals. Number 5. Jody Williams, banning landmines, saving lives. Jody Williams's journey to the Nobel Peace Prize began in 1991 when she was asked to coordinate an international campaign against landmines. At the time, landmines were a hidden epidemic, buried in the ground across war-torn regions and posing a grave danger to civilians long after conflicts had ended. Williams led the international campaign to ban landmines, ICBL, bringing together over 1,000 NGOs from more than 60 countries. Her strategic use of grassroots activism, media campaigns, and diplomatic lobbying led to the 1997 Mine Ban Treaty, which has since been signed by over 160 countries. Williams' work has led to the destruction of millions of landmines and saved countless lives. Her leadership showed that a determined coalition of ordinary people could create extraordinary change, even against seemingly insurmountable odds. The ICBL continues its efforts today, pushing for mine clearance and victim assistance worldwide. Williams' story is a potent reminder of the power of collective action and grassroots activism in achieving peace and protecting human rights. Number 6. Kailash Satyarthi, freedom fighter for child rights. Kailash Satyarthi's life's work is a testament to his belief that children should be free to learn, grow, and play, without the burden of forced labor or exploitation. Born in India, Satyarthi was inspired by the plight of child laborers and dedicated his life to eradicating child exploitation. He founded the Bachpan Bachao Andolan, Save the Childhood movement, which has rescued over 85,000 children from child labor, trafficking, and slavery. Satyarthi personally led over 1,000 raids on factories, brick kilns, and sweatshops, freeing children who had been forced into bonded labor. Satyarthi's Nobel Peace Prize win in 2014, shared with Malala Yousafzai, brought global attention to the horrors of child labor. He continues to campaign for children's rights through initiatives like the Global March Against Child Labor, which connects organizations worldwide in a common cause. His work reminds us that peace is not just about ending wars, but also about protecting the rights and dignity of the most vulnerable. Satyarthi's story challenges us to see the fight for justice as a fight for the future. Number 7. Nadia Murad, From Victim to Advocate. Nadia Murad's rise from a small village in Iraq to a global advocate for human rights is a story of incredible resilience. In 2014, ISIS militants attacked her Yazidi community, massacring men and enslaving women. Nadia was taken captive and endured unspeakable abuse, but she managed to escape and sought refuge in Germany. Rather than hide from her trauma, Nadia chose to speak out. She became the face of a global campaign to raise awareness about the genocide against Yazidis and the use of sexual violence as a weapon of war. Murad co-founded Nadia's initiative, an organization dedicated to rebuilding communities in crisis and supporting survivors of sexual violence. Her advocacy led to her Nobel Peace Prize win in 2018, shared with Dr. Denis Mukwege. Together, they have shined a light on the dark realities of war and pushed for international action to prevent sexual violence. Nadia's story is not just a tale of survival, it's a call to action for the world to protect the innocent and hold perpetrators accountable. These Nobel Peace Prize winners have reshaped our world in ways that are as unique as they are inspiring. From fighting for education, environmental sustainability, and child rights to advocating against landmines and sexual violence, their stories remind us that peace is more than the absence of war. It's about justice, equality, and the courage to stand up for what's right. Which story moved you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories.